Welcome to Catholic Mom Mindset, a daily show where you learn to walk closely with the Holy Spirit so you can live the life God is calling you to. I'm your host, Sterling Jaquith. Let us begin. We're going to start talking about personality typing your kids, and I'm going to do this for the next 4 episodes just to give you some insight into some of the personality typing systems that I like. So before we get into the specific one for today, when you understand the personality type of someone, it just helps you to understand their natural inclination. Okay, this is true for yourself too. We don't take these tests and then lean on them and say, well, I have to act like this because I'm this personality type. I think as we grow in virtue and seek to become saints, it's important that we are always trying to serve and love everyone around us and to increase our emotional intelligence, the way that we read people, our own self-awareness, regulating our emotions, being calm, and showing up with peace and presence to as many moments as we can. So we don't want to use personality typing systems as a way to not work on growing in virtue. That being said, it does give us a leg up in understanding someone else's behavior and to explain why they are doing something that may not be something we would do. So today I want to talk about the DISC personality system, which is my favorite. It stands for DISC. So D stands for dominance. I stands for interpersonal, I think. C stands for, well, now I'm just embarrassed. I don't even know what the letters stand for. Conscientious. And S stands for steadiness, I think. Okay. So a high D person is really strong, really intense, has that military style kind of personality, and they often tend to be leaders. They often sometimes squash people to get a job done. They're not necessarily reading the hearts of everyone involved in the situation. And their biggest fear, and I think this is important, I think it's important to understand within this personality system what each type's biggest fear is. A high D person's biggest fear is a lack of control. One of the reasons that they kind of strong arm everyone around them is because they're like, well, I have to do it because if I don't do it, it won't get done well. And if I don't have control, then I'm going to go to the scary place. Okay. So this particular behavior is not rewarded very well in women. High D women often struggle to make friendships, and the world, like the general culture, does not like high D women. So they often have to kind of downplay this side of them. They can't be very strong, forthright leaders. They receive feedback early on that girls shouldn't be like that. And so they usually play small and kind of hide that part of them. And it's really important if you have a high D daughter that you understand this type and you help her understand her type. That it's okay to be like that. And you want to help her balance being a leader with being a bully, because it's so easy to cross those lines when you have a high D personality. This is true for men as well, but men in general are more rewarded for this behavior and this personality type in our society. Unless I think some of them in the younger years we would call strong-willed boys. Oh, he's so strong-willed. Well, he might just be a high D. And high D people really need high-intensity exercise to relax, which is just absolutely insane to someone like me who's a high I. Right? High-intensity exercise stresses me out. But when you have a high D personality and they look not great, you should be like, go hike 5 miles. And they love it. It totally calms them down. So just understanding, if you have a high D son or a daughter. Now, I have a sense of kids' DISC personality types early on, but I don't really know until about 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. Right? Because let's say you've got an emotionally dysregulated 3-year-old, you might think that kiddo's a high D, but really maybe just a 3-year-old, and that might shake out in a couple years. Okay. So a high I, which is what I am, we're like the performers and the golden retrievers and the party people, the social people, the bursty, lots of ideas people, not as great with details. We could be super fun, but we can also be super forgetful, and maybe people can't rely on us. And our biggest fear is rejection. And so if you've got a high I child and I have one, and she comes to me and she's like, and then maybe we could get like a horse and I could ride the horse and I'll take care of it. And then maybe we could use the horse to do like horseback rides for our friends. And so you want to be careful not to squash a high I's ideas or their enthusiasm, because they will perceive it as a rejection of them. And so with that daughter, I'll sit her down and I'll be like, oh, that sounds so fun. I love that idea. You have such a creative and fun brain. Let's think it through though. And I'll kind of take her through it until she kind of realizes why we can't have a horse. We cannot. The Jakewith family will not be getting a horse anytime soon. And so that is what a high I looks like. And again, if you can identify these in your kids, show them their strengths, play to their strengths, show them where they struggle, and don't let them get out of working on those struggles. And so if you can become educated about these types, you can pretty quickly type your kids and then set them up for success. My older kids are aware of this and what they are, what we think they are. Okay. It took a long time just to get through the first two, so we'll stop there at high D and high I, and I will do high S and high C in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening, and have a blessed day. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Catholic Mom Mindset. To learn more about growing closer to the Holy Spirit, check out our free resources at madeforgreatness.co. Thank you so much for listening, and have a blessed day.